Okay, today we're going to look at this problem. Draw the tetrapeptide meat and label the N-terminus, the C-terminus, and indicate all peptide bonds. Alright, you want to understand what a peptide is. A peptide is a single strand of amino acids. So tetrapeptide is going to be 4 amino acids strung together. This meat is literally the single letter code for methionine, glutamate, alanine, and threonine. So we're going to draw this. The sequence that I draw peptides is NNCC. So repeating that sequence, you're going to have nitrogen, and we're going to add the hydrogens as we go, carbon, carbon. This carbon here, the second carbon, does not get a hydrogen. You will see why here in a minute. Nitrogen, carbon, carbon, nitrogen, carbon, carbon, nitrogen, carbon, carbon. Okay, so now that we have our sequence, nitrogen, carbon, carbon, nitrogen, carbon, carbon, now we're going to add the R groups. The R groups are always going to be on the first carbon bound to the nitrogen. That's where your R groups are located in your peptide chain. Okay, so the first amino acid, which is M, is methionine. And methionine has 2 carbon groups and a sulfur group, and then at the end, a methyl group. Okay, so that's methionine. Now the reason why this second carbon, these ones here, do not get a hydrogen is because they just double bonded to an oxygen, satisfying their 4 bonds. Okay, so this nitrogen is also satisfied because it has 3 bonds, the hydrogen and these 2 bonds here. All right, so now we're at the second R group, which is glutamate. And glutamate also has 2 carbons, but then it has a carboxylic acid group. Okay, and then we have 2 oxygen bound to this carbon, and then nitrogen has its hydrogen, and then we have our third R group, which is alanine, which is really easy. It's a methyl group. And then we have our next carbon, which has 2 oxygen bound to it, nitrogen satisfied, and then the last R group is threonine, which has a carbon bound to a methyl group and a hydroxide group. And then the last carbon is a carboxylic acid. Okay, and then that is our tetrapeptide meat. Now we have to label the terminus. So on the N-terminus stands for nitrogen terminus. And then C-terminus, carboxylic acid, carboxylic terminus. Okay, and now we have to indicate the peptide bonds. So if you follow the sequence NCC, every time the sequence starts over, you have a peptide bond. So this is a peptide bond, this is a peptide bond, this is a peptide bond. So you have 3 peptide bonds in this tetrapeptide. Okay, that's it for this question. Thank you for watching the video, and I will see you all in another video.